Hi everyone, Ryan here with Fight Game Analysis, and today we are going to be talking about the upcoming fight between Vasyl Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez. If you've been enjoying the content, please go ahead and smash on that like button and also subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate your support. Alright, so we got an upcoming fight here between Vasyl Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez. Big fight, obviously. I mean, anything that Lomachenko's involved in at this point in his career is a big fight. He's widely considered the pound-for-pound #1 fighter. In my opinion, one of the greatest of all time when you look back from his amateur career all the way through to the pros and see what he's done. His pro career obviously hasn't been that long, so you can make the comment that he hasn't fought enough great competition at the professional level, strength of schedule and that whole argument, and I get it. We'll see what he does throughout the remainder of his career. But when you look at the amateur career, that record, the Olympic work, all the way through to the pros, and he passes the eye test. Like when you watch this guy, he just goes out there and does things that are just so unique, so beautiful, so dominant. Yeah, I'm putting him up there. I'm putting him on the list, at least my personal list, right? I'm not giving him the #1 pound for pound all-time great status or nothing like that, but he's up there. He has to be talked about. His work is that great. And then on the flip side, you've got Lopez, right? Young, up-and-comer, very flashy with the knockouts. He's got a good personality. He's on social media doing a lot. Fans really like him. Young guy, I think he's like 24 years old right now, and he's coming up, challenging. Classic story of the young lion versus the old lion. So it's a big fight. And at first, I remember when this was first getting talked about, I want to say maybe like a year and a half ago, Lopez and his father talking pretty loud, saying they were calling out Lomachenko, talking kind of crazy about him. He's a small guy. He won't be able to do it, this and that. And I remember thinking, looking at Lopez's record and thinking, man, they are talking big. They are talking loud for a guy who doesn't have that many fights, calling out Lomachenko. And I thought maybe at the time that they were using it for some publicity. I wasn't 100% sure if they were going to actually really push for that fight. But lo and behold, here we are. And it's just a few days away at this point when this video gets out. So I've been looking forward to it. Let's take a look at each one of the fighters. I'll start out with the challenger, Lopez, Teofimo Lopez. When you watch this guy fight, it's easy to really like him. It's easy to fall in love with what he does offensively. Let me clarify that right out the gate. It's easy to fall in love with what he does offensively. He's got incredibly fast hands, super crisp punches, understands distance well. He can lead, he can counter, real, true power. I mean, he's got it all when you look at him. He understands angles well. He sets things up, works the jab, shoots combinations, goes to the body well. Beautiful counter left hook. I love the short little uppercut inside that he'll throw to counter a guy's jab. I mean, he really does it all. He really does it all. When he's at his best, he even rolls steam off the punches well in that Philly shell type defense that he uses and comes back with a straight right hand that's beautiful. And then when you throw that power in there, obviously that really true one-punch power that he's got, it just makes it that much more highlight reel. That much more show-stopping, blow up your screen type finishes. But the thing that has to be kept in mind is there's more to the game than that. I mean, if you watched him train in the gym, he would do all those things. Then he goes out there against lesser talent. And I use the term lesser talent when we're talking about the competition of the level Lomachenko's at or the level of competition that Lomachenko's faced. Lopez's talent, the talent that he's faced is definitely lesser. Comey was a really good test, but overall. And you go in there against that talent level and you're able to blow guys out. He's able to land all the shots that he wants to land. He looks beautiful doing it. And lo and behold, here we are. He's challenging for the world title. Even facing that lesser talent, even taking that into consideration, he still hasn't looked flawless. And the main problem that I see with him is his defense. He fights out of that Philly shell, and he's got the ability to work well on his feet, but every now and then he gets stuck a little bit, and he'll stand in front of his opponent. He misjudges the distance a lot. And the most clear example that I can give of that is that Nakatani fight. Right? Nakatani was out there throwing that right hand, and he was landing it. He was getting it right over the top of Lopez's left shoulder. And that's the thing about when you fight out of that Philly shell is you really have to understand distance really well, but you also have to understand angles really well. Now, Lopez has showed he understands angles offensively. When he wants to get his shots off, he knows how to get to spots and do that. But defensively, he doesn't seem to understand angles that well. He doesn't use that shoulder correctly. I don't think he bends at the waist in the directions and things like that enough that he needs to, and that's why he's getting caught. So Comey landed a couple right hands too, but Lopez was just on that seek and destroy mission, and he was able to get Comey out of there. But Now we're talking about Lomachenko. And if you don't understand the distance well, if you're not great with those defensive angles, that may end up being a problem. Then on the other side, the champion, right? The guy that he wants to take the belt from, Vasyl Lomachenko. Man, this dude literally does it all, right? They call him the Matrix for a reason. I love watching this guy fight. I remember watching him in his second professional fight against Salido. And I had known Salido for a while. I knew that he was just a rough and tumble type fighter. I remember when he just completely derailed Juan Manuel Lopez. If you haven't seen him, go back and watch those fights. They are just absolutely beautiful. They are beautifully violent, right? Just destructive. And Salido goes in there, and Salido is like the true veteran, a real pro. And I don't care who you are or how good you are. At that point in his career, he was a guy that was going to be tough to get out of there for anybody, right? Whether it was Juan Manuel Lopez, who had really good power, beautiful right hook, getting guys out of there, whether it was Lomachenko with his incredibly decorated amateur career coming in with this huge supposed skill disparity and technical advantage. And Salido not only made it a really tough, ugly fight, but he won. And there was a couple things that stood out there from me. One, I was very interested in seeing how Lomachenko was going to bounce back from that. But I had high aspirations because of the fact that he never complained. He never complained to the ref once during that fight. Salido has every dirty trick in the book, man. He's in there. He's using his head. He's roughing you up with his elbows. He'll try to rake the glove on occasion. Low blows. I mean, he is just, like I said, it is a rough and tumble fight. Not for the faint of heart when Orlando Salido was in there. And Lomachenko never complained once. And the other thing that I liked was I was questioning how his cardio was going to look coming off that long amateur career, but being relatively new to the pros. A lot of times when you see young guys come up, they'll take 4-rounders, 6-rounders, 8-rounders, 10-rounders. They build up to 12-round fights. Lomachenko, he was like, none of that for me. Jumped right into a 12-round fight. Cardio looked great. So that's all the background. I've been watching him for a long time. But how does he look when you look at him now? And like I said, he does it all. He literally does it all, which is hard to imagine sometimes that he's got the skill set that he does. Footwork is just absolutely amazing. Best in the game, in my opinion, by a mile. Gets everywhere that he wants to get in the boxing ring. Works angles like nobody else that you see work angles. Literally gets hard angles and dives past people. Works more outside round angles. Does it all. Spins guys around. Slips shots in underneath their gloves and around them when they're not quite sure where he is. When he's just working traditionally, standing in front of you, he's got a great jab and a good left hand. I mean, goes to the body better than almost anybody. The accolades go on and on. No matter what area of the game you're talking about. Defensively, upper body movement, head movement, staying off the line, using feints, baiting guys in. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you're talking about. He has absolutely mastered it. He's great. The only thing that you could ask for if you were just creating a perfect fighter in the lab, there's only one more thing you could ask for, and that'd be, some Tommy Hearns type power that he could just reach out and zap guys and get them out of there, right? With that Mike Tyson type work. But you're asking for too much there. I mean, come on. He still gets his stoppages. He still does great, and his power is nothing to sneeze at. When he lands shots on guys, they respect him. They back up. He's got a great experience level now in the pros. I mean, there's a reason he goes into all of these fights as such a huge favorite. Okay. So enough talking about the great Vasyl Lomachenko. We all know how well he's done. But how's it going to look in this fight here? What's going to happen when these two step in the ring against each other? Look, Lopez is a very, very good fighter. He is dangerous, particularly early. And I expect him to get some shots off. I expect him to get in there and be aggressive. I expect him there to stay in Lomachenko's face, try to not let Lomachenko fight his fight. You don't want Loma on the outside, getting your timing, picking you apart, starting to get your speed and your rhythm, and then just give him the ability to do everything that he wants. That is a loser's fight all day. You'll never beat him that way. I believe Lopez knows that based off of some of the things he said and ways he's fought in the past. I think he's going to come out there, be aggressive. He's going to work the jab, and he's going to try to get that right hand off. He knows he's got an advantage early. He's young. He's strong. I think he's a little bit taller, a little bit longer. Not that Lomachenko hasn't faced that before, but still, he's got those advantages in this fight. And I think he's going to try in there, and he's going to try to lead. When Lomachenko tries to do something, he's going to try to counter. He's going to try to work some quick angles. Like, he is just going to start out fast and try to get after it. And he'll land some shots, don't get me wrong. He's good enough, for sure. This won't be a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. But he doesn't have anything that Lopez hasn't, or that Lomachenko hasn't seen. We all saw what Lomachenko did to Jorge Linares. Jorge Linares is a beautiful boxer. Beautiful jab. Great combination work. And he's even taller and longer than Lopez is. Okay, we just saw what Lomachenko did to Luke Campbell, right? He's a bigger guy than Lopez is. Lopez isn't going to bring anything to the table that Lomachenko hasn't seen before. So while he's shooting the jabs and the hard right hands, super fast, all that kind of stuff, he'll get a couple things off, but it won't be much. I would say probably around the end of the second round, going into the third round, maybe even beginning of the second round, once Lomachenko starts to download all that data, once he starts to figure out the speed and the rhythm and everything it is that Lopez is doing, that's when he's going to start to turn it up. That's when he's going to start to make his move. Lopez has trouble with like the right hand against Nakatani. He doesn't quite know how to gauge it, using his left shoulder as the defense when he's fighting out of that Philly shell. Well, what do you think's going to happen with Lomachenko's fighting out of that southpaw stance and he's shooting that straight left hand down there? That's going to be trouble. Lopez isn't going to be able to get underneath that all the time like you used to see Mayweather do against southpaws, right? Like when he was fighting Victor Ortiz. He isn't going to be able to do that all the time against Lomachenko. Lomachenko, he knows how to change the speeds, the feints, working the angles. He's going to start to get his shots off. And then Lopez is going to be able to start to not get his shots off. Slowly, you're going to see the tide start to turn. And once that happens, then you're going to see Lopez start to get frustrated because he's never been in there with anybody who can do anything like that. He's always been able to get his shots off. Whenever he's wanted to apply his will offensively and he's dedicated in a fight, there's only been one guy who ever gave him trouble, and that was Nakatani, and it wasn't that much. You know, he's never been in there. He's going to get frustrated. I'm telling you, mark my words, I think he's going to get frustrated if he doesn't get off, and I think you're going to start to see his game deteriorate. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round as the fight goes on. I think he gets frustrated, and I think that leads to him reaching, to him really trying to load up and get the big shot, to him just trying to extend himself physically and just mentally extend his game to the point where Lomachenko starts to easily be able to draw him out. And that's just going to allow him to pick him apart more and more as time goes on. You know, the only question in my mind is whether or not he gets the stoppage. Lomachenko gets the stoppage. Like I said, Lopez is young, man. He's tough. He's strong. He's got the mindset and the will of an undefeated fighter. Normally, I would say that he wouldn't be stopped. That if you beat him by a decision, that's how you're going to get him. Especially with Lomachenko, like I said before, who doesn't have this just great, outstanding power. However, all that being said, when you start to get frustrated, when you start to get just really aggravated in the fight because you can't get anything working and nothing's going the way you want it to, against a master like Lomachenko, who will then see that frustration and draw him out, make him overextend himself, get over his front leg, make him lean forward too much. I mean, he could just set him up for some beautiful shots. Particularly, like I said, Lomachenko likes to work the body, tire him out, and then just land some hard stuff over the top. So Lomachenko may end up getting a late stoppage in this one, but I'm not guaranteeing or anything like that. Not even saying that's my prediction. I'm just going with Lomachenko for the outright win on this one. I think he looks good. I think he turns back the young lion. After this, Lopez is going to end up moving up in weight. He would have preferred this fight earlier in the year. I think it's a little bit tough for him to make this weight. But after this one, he's going to end up moving up. But I think it's a great fight for Lomachenko on his legacy when he comes out with the win. Because Lopez is a good fighter. I'm sure he's going to continue to go on and do great things in the sport of boxing, which is just going to make the win look that much better on Lomachenko's resume. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think this is going to be a great win for him? What do you think's in the future for Lopez? Do you think that he can land one of these hard shots on Lomachenko and get him out of there? Can he do it early? Can he do it late? We've never seen him late in the fight as far as, can he carry his power? So what's the future hold? I'm super excited. Really looking forward to this one.